Hello and welcome back to Gibraltar. This is where Fiona and I live, and this is a Tornado GR4. Now the Tornado GR4 has long since departed service with the Air Force, but not so in flight simulators. So because my VR headset has died, well, it hasn't died, but it just doesn't seem to recognise the flight simulator anymore. It seems to work with everything else. But I'm going to go flying. I'm going to go flying in my Tornado. Okay, so let's have a quick look down at my instruments there. What am I looking at? I'm watching these engine instruments down here. Fuel 3.5. Oh, I need to look where I'm going because I can't hold it on the brakes anymore. There we go. Loads of power going in there. And I'm looking for about 120 for back pressure. There we go. Big old girl this really is. Gear can come up, tucks away quite fast, doesn't it? It's got afterburners, this thing. It's really nice. Now what we're looking at the top of the screen here, we're looking at, this is the airspeed 285, and this is the altitude. The R indicates that it's rad alt, which is the radar altitude. Okay, we can switch back to barometer, but we're not going to fly airways or anything like that. It's for airline pilots, isn't it? So we'll just stick with the radar altitude for now. Have a quick look outside. There we are. There's our rock of Gibraltar. Look, should stay in the cockpit really, because I fly better from in the cockpit. I do admire these people that can fly aircraft from the ground on an antenna, like these radio control stuff. I would be absolutely hopeless at that. You see the top right hand now, the R has disappeared because I'm too high. The radar altitude only works to a certain height. Now this aircraft will fly itself along the ground pretty much. You know, you can dial in which height you want it to fly at, and that's what it'll do. But we're not going to do any of that. We're just taking it for a quick whiz and see if I can remember how to fly it. Can I remember what speed we come into land? I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was 160. Now, if I throttle both the engines right back and raise the nose slightly, put the gear down, I can drop 2 stages of flaps and I'll find out what the stall is. You know, how slow this aircraft can go. Now we're looking at our airspeed. That's critical for landing all the time. So keeping the wings straight and level, keeping the nose up 5 degrees, and I'm trying to see what my landing speed is. I'm down to 140, down to 120, 119, 117. There's the stall warner. Wow, 112. That is a lot slower than I seem to remember. Flaps can come up, gear can come up, so we'll do a touchdown. I'll do a touchdown at 140. I'll aim for 140 for touchdown at Gibraltar. So a quick look around the cockpit. It's a really nice layout. It's much better in VR, of course. I did a lot of flying in this at one time when it first came out. Went all over the world in it, not just round the world. I mean, it was the first aircraft I flew around the world in, but I went all over the world in it. I really did. Right, there's our runway down there. So we're aiming for 140. Okay, so we need some air brakes now because we're going quite fast. Looking for 260 for gear extension. 300. 280, 270, 260, 250, there's the gear. Not supposed to put flaps down the turn, so we'll wait till we roll out. Okay, rolling out 1 stage off, 2 stages off. Air brakes are still out. .206, so we can Go a lot slower than I thought. It's supposed to be going quite fast actually then. Right, I've got 4 reds now, so I can raise the nose and the speed should drop away now really fast. Okay, air brakes in and put a bit of trickle of power in there now. 130, so I'm going slower than my aiming point. Close the throttle now. There's my aiming point there where all the skid marks are, all the tyres. 140. Oof. Okay, well that seemed to work. I only used 2 stages of flap, so there's a nasty big bump in the runway there. See that? That's not there in real life, obviously. They don't have ramps in the middle of the runways. Okay, full power. Let's get off to Tangiers. I mean, there are lots of things I don't like about X-Plane, and big ramps and bumps in the middle of runways is definitely one of them. Wings do sweep on this aircraft. Let me show you where. Just reduce the power slightly. Need to go and look down there. That lever there will sweep the wings a bit, so bring them back to 45. Quick look outside. And those wings, you see, they are swing, wing, sweep. You see the American ones do it all for you. It's all automatic, but not the British ones. So we're now going over to Tangiers, which we've been to in one of the last flights and videos. Have a quick look at Gibraltar. That's the port of Algeciras, which is below us there. And there's Gibraltar, which is behind us. Won't take us long to get to Tangiers, that's for sure. Especially if we give it a bit of boot. Doing 360, so we want to really be doing over 450. There's 450. That'll do. You can throttle back at that. Trim that in. There we go. All nicely trimmed in for Tangiers. Call Tangiers on the radio, tell them we're inbound from Gibraltar. And we'd like it straight in on the runway. And we have to remember to put the wings back out when we get there, otherwise the flaps won't come down because they just don't work unless the wings are all the way out. Right, so we'll probably do a little steep approach when we get there. Don't want to be too low, do we? Although I could demonstrate some low flying in the desert and have it on autopilot, so it's actually following the terrain following radar. That is really interesting to do because down here we have our cram lines. Can you see them? And then we'll put the you can put auto throttles on. I don't know what the heading bug's set to. We could put the autopilot on. But you can set the altitude as well, which is really sort of low on the flight director. On the terrain following, that's the one there, terrain following. I haven't got anything selected at the moment. I wonder what is selected. Let's have a look. Got wind the heading bug round. So our current heading. What have we got selected? 200 feet. We'll put it at 1,000 feet. There we go. So we don't go too low. Let's select the heading bug as well. Heading bug. So we're at 2,200 feet. So we've got auto throttles selected, so it's trying to keep the speed the same, so the throttles will start moving themselves. It's a really useful feature, autopilot, actually. Then if we want to change direction, we have to change it on the heading bug. I'll show you how to do that. You see that it is following the terrain now. It's trying to maintain the same altitude, but it's following the terrain. I've got it set to 1,000 feet. I can come lower. I can go down to 750. The autopilot is on, terrain following, flight director, auto throttle and heading. See, if you're flying high level, you could hit altitude as well. So our airport's over here somewhere, so we want to turn right a bit. Okay, so we'll bring our heading bug to the little orange thing there. Come right a bit, and then it'll settle on that. I think we need to come right up a bit more. Okay, so I'll take manual control. Autopilot is on, off, and I have manual control. Throttles are closed. There's our runway up ahead. Air brakes extended. I need to put the wings out. All the way. There we go. What's our airspeed? So we're in gear lowering speeds, so I can lower some gear, I can lower some flaps. Beautiful long runway here at Tangiers. If I ever wanted to land here with the wings fully back and I couldn't move them because they were locked, this is a perfect runway to do it on, because it's so long. I mean, you've got all that time in the world to stop. Okay, so we're looking for 3 green lights. Got 1, 2, 3 there. That tells me that my undercarriage is down and locked. Get a bit more power there. We can get rid of the air brakes. We don't need that. Gears down and locked. I've got 2 stages of flaps. I never use more than 2. I mean, I know people do. But you don't need to. You don't need to. We're just flying over the VOR there now. Okay, 180. I'm going way faster. Okay, we'll have the air brakes out again now. That's good. Speed's coming right down now. That's perfect. Over the piano keys, onto the numbers. Touchdown. That is smooth. That is smooth. Okay, on the brakes. Ooh, that wasn't good. Braked a bit hard there. Slid off onto the grass. Right, okay. And we should have a turning just here. And if we go and park up, enjoy a nice cup of tea, and that, apart from that dodgy landing, is the Tornado GR4. And yes, I need to practice a lot more in it, because I haven't flown it for donkey's years. Can't remember when the last time I flew it was, because when I downloaded the Harrier, I mean, wow, I just binged out, didn't want to fly the Tornado anymore after that. What's the difference between the Tornado and the Harrier, I hear you say? Well, it's the difference between driving a sports car and a transit van. The Tornado being a transit van. I'm just going to squeeze in between these wing tips. This is where VR comes in really handy. You see, you just turn your head and sort of faffing about. That's okay. Right, excellent. I think we can open the canopy now. Can't remember where the switch is. Now that is how long ago I've flown it. Anyway, let's not bother then. We'll just shut it down, get rid of that. You used to be able to click on that and it would go away. There it is. Okay, so switch the fuel off. Then we switch all these switches off. That's a fast startup panel because you have a button somewhere that you just flick them all together and they'll all come on together. Anyway, there we are, ladies and gentlemen, the Tornado GR4, which sadly no longer serves with the Royal Air Force. It was retired years ago, 5-6 years ago, maybe more, I don't know. It was my favourite aeroplane at the time. I did fly it all the way around the world, but life moves on. I've found other things. Thanks for watching.